just look at our lifetime, the time that we've been a college basketball fan, I think UCLA and Kentucky get left out. And then you bring in schools like Villanova, Michigan State, schools that are consistently competing for national championships in the 2000s era.
Another one for the world, another one for the listeners, and maybe for the girls. See, I can't dribble a ball, but I can fiddle with y'all.
Yes, sir. Right off the bat, I want to just get into UConn men's basketball handedly beating San Diego State. They covered their spread and they smacked the over damn near themselves.
Yeah, it was a pretty one-sided game. We were talking about before the game how we thought, is UConn's offense going to be too slow? San Diego's defense going to be too good? Ended up not mattering. UConn's defense is really the story of the game. They held San Diego State, I think, scoreless or at least field goalless for dang near 12 minutes in the first half, which is just absolutely crazy for the national championship game.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I know anyone that had the over watching that stretch was holding on to their pants.
Definitely. They start sweating. They start sweating for sure. Luckily, both teams kind of came alive, or UConn kept it going in the second half, but SDSU kind of came alive, pulled it closer, just wasn't able to make it a game at the end.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the bottom line for San Diego State, their leading scorer had 8 points.
Yeah, and I think he averages pretty close to 20 points a game, which that just can't happen. Actually, no, I think he's a little bit lower, but because they're pretty balanced team. But yeah, Bradley did not show up. He went 2 of 9 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3. Just goes to show that Andre Jackson Jr. from UConn, he covered him the entire game and was just inch away from him the entire time. Wouldn't give him any breathing room, and Bradley just couldn't do anything. Yeah,
for sure. UConn's defense definitely stepped up. I mean, San Diego State had 2 forwards that went over in the game. So just Sanago being their big man, shutting down, at least one of those guys, and the whole defense stepping up, like having no points, like as a forward and just locking down the paint in a national championship game is kind of unheard of. So, I mean, props to UConn and, their defensive scheme at the end of the day.
Definitely. It was good old pressure man-to-man defense, which, we all grew up playing back in the day. But you could kind of tell in that first half, the big guys from SDSU stopped wanting to go to the basket. Like they pick and roll, they would catch it, start to go up, and then pass, which is something that you just typically don't see from big guys, especially in that kind of circumstance of a game.
Yeah, for sure. Watching the first half, I could tell UConn was the better team. Like San Diego State, they just looked pressured, flustered. They didn't look like they ever found a groove in a game. Basketball is a game of runs, and it didn't seem like they got their run, or like they didn't get any momentum behind them either. It felt like a one-sided game the whole time.
And that being said, I think they were down 12 at halftime or something like that. And with that big of a scoreless streak, they still somehow kept in the game. They got it down to 5 in the second half, I believe. So props to them for competing, not folding, not tucking their tails and running away in the second half, and actually coming out and competing still. But UConn was definitely the better team, and they were, hats off to them. They didn't lose a non-conference game the entire season.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. Speaking of UConn, do we put them in the blue blood category now? Do we talk about blue blood? I seen a little buzz going around Twitter. Like, are they in the discussion at least? Like, can we talk about it?
That has been the talk. I've seen the narrative kind of come around a couple times now on SportsCenter, Get Up, that kind of thing. I think you have to, right? Like, they've won 5 titles all since 1999. Like,
crazy.
No other school has that kind of run in these last, I guess, 20 years.
Yeah, they got one in every 5-10 years.
They are one of 2 schools to win a national title in each of the last 4 decades, I believe. Them in North
Carolina.
Carolina.
Crazy. If you're listening and don't know the term blue bloods, we're talking about North Carolina, Kentucky, UCLA, Kansas, Duke, and now are we talking about UConn? North Carolina with 5 titles, Kentucky with 8, UCLA with 11, not one since 95, Kansas with 4, and Duke with 5. UConn's got 5 now. They got to be in the discussion. I would even rank them above teams that are already considered blue bloods at this point.
Oh, definitely. I think that argument goes a long way, especially when you look at some of these teams. Like you mentioned, UCLA. They won in 95, which is their last one. And before that, it was 75.
Yeah,
so
another 25-year stretch.
Right. Almost the last 50 years, they've won 2 titles.
And to consider them blue bloods kind of seems like a disrespect to the teams that have been winning the last 25 years. But at the same time, you got to pay homage to the people that were winning before we were born. You can't just start when you're born and your era and pick, for what college is considered a blue blood. But at the end of the day, UCLA, 11 titles, they have to be in. It doesn't matter that they haven't won since 95. Like 11 is the most. So they're in regardless.
Definitely, and hats off to Coach Wooden. He's arguably the greatest coach of all time for men's college basketball. I think they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in an 11-year stretch. So
listen, UCLA won 88 games in a row from 1971 to 1974. 88 straight games. Championships, they won 1964, 65, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 75. What are we talking about? How do you have that long of a fucking stretch?
The man was good. He was a great coach. It helps when you have It helps when you have an all-time great player, for 4 or 3 of those seasons because he couldn't play as a freshman in Kareem or Lou Alcindor, however you want to look at it. But, John Wooden, definited just insane coaching.
Yeah, 3 years is one thing, but I just rattled off what seems like 20 years worth of championships, like just back to back to back to back to back. Just disgusting. One thing I do want to bring into this UConn conversation, are they the Michael Jordan of the Blue Bloods? They're 5-0. They've never lost a championship. They have never lost a championship. They're 5-0. Does that if we're talking, the MJ debate, you go there and you don't lose, that puts you at the top.
It kind of has to. Like we kind of talked about, it's crazy how UConn is either in the NIT and getting bounced in the second round or winning the national title. There is no in between for them.
Yeah, I guess, dude. It's the first or second round of the NIT, just the worst year ever, or they're in the championship.
Definitely.
Talking about UConn being 5-0, the order after that, percentage-wise, goes to UCLA, 11-2, just fucking disgusting. Kentucky, 8-4, Duke, 6-6, North Carolina, 5-6. So all those blue bloods, and now you got UConn that's won 5-0. And on top of that, it's all in the last 25 years. Like they are the blue blood, of our generation, the last 25 years, whatever.
No, absolutely. Of our generation, like you can argue UConn's the best men's college basketball team.
And you don't think about it. I didn't think about it until I went, diving on stats and stuff. But the more stats I was pulling out, the more I was just like, dude, it's UConn.
Right.
It's UConn.
Another school, like everyone, highly touted Kentucky, like how they get the one and dones all the time. Coach Calipari, they won in 2012, but before that, they hadn't won since '98. It's just another thing. Like, okay, yeah, you guys won 8 titles. Most of them were before the '80s. For
sure, but the thing with them is how many Final Fours, 56 conference titles. Like they just were winning their conference every year, which goes a long way. Like if you're just owning your conference for, 20 out of 25 years, you're considered elite.
Right. No, absolutely. I get it. It's just I wouldn't have guessed that. I guess with how much buzz Kentucky gets every year, for them only having one national title in the last at least 25 years, kind of crazy.
For sure. A question like, how much do you value the runner-up? So North Carolina's 5-6, Duke's 6-6. Like those 6 losses, would you still say that's better than being 5-0? Like you've only made it 5 times.
Right.
Would you rather have made it 12 times or only made it 5 times?
Right. No, that's a good question.
We're not talking Jordan, LeBron type shit. We're talking as like a program.
I get it.
So it's more broad than just, go talk.
Right. If you were going to choose a school to go play basketball at, would you want to go somewhere that you're going to get to the national championship and have a chance to compete? Or if you get to the national championship, you're going to win. Right?
For sure. And if you're a 4-year player, do you think you're going to go one time maybe, or you're for sure going to go to the Sweet 16 2 or 3 opportunities?
Right.
Or that's like the expected expectation getting recruited going into the school, right?
Correct. Yeah, because UConn only has 6 Final Fours, so they've only made it to the Final Four one other time other than the national title.
Right. They have 1 loss in the Final Four, so they kind of got redeemed a little bit by not losing in the championship. So they're 5-0. They've only been to the Final Four 6 times. So like, how much do you value the runner-up?
Personally, I would probably, still choose like if I was going or if I had someone that was asking me, hey, which school should I go play basketball at? Duke is my top choice. I was a huge Duke fan growing up, but I don't think you can go wrong with any of these schools.
Yeah, for sure. Personal preference. But if someone said, what's the best college basketball, all time?
All time?
Yeah, all time. So like, you're obviously going to put championships, Final Four, conference titles into it, but do you value the runner-up, like just making it more than if you do make it winning it,
Right. I mean, I think, yeah, if you made me rank them, I think I would put Duke and North Carolina above UConn as far as all-time programs, because they have been there more. And yes, their conference titles are only 39 and 23 compared to some of these schools with like 50, 60 conference titles, but they play in the same conference. They're competing against another team that is for sure competing for a national championship every single year in, year out. So yeah, as far as which of these 6 schools would be my least,
I guess let me ask you this: what team, if any, would you put UConn above? So like we got North Carolina, Kentucky, UCLA, Kansas, Duke. With this championship, would you place UConn above any of those teams?
For all time, great.
Because those are top 5 that I said.
Right.
So would you bump one of those down to 6 and put UConn in the top 5, being 5-0 now?
For an all-time great? No, I don't
All-time.
think I can.
They're still down there.
Yeah, which is crazy, right? They've gone on an amazing run. I just think longevity-wise, these other schools just put up so many numbers that you I don't know, I can put UConn above them.
Well, here's the dilemma I'm looking at. UConn and Duke, both 5 titles. Duke's first title, 91. Last one, 2015. UConn, 99. Last one this year. They both have 5 titles, conference titles. UConn, 29. Duke, 23. And then they obviously have 11 more Final Fours, but you have 11 more Final Fours in the same amount of championships. So that's where I value. Does it matter if they make it that many more times if they have the same amount of titles?
Are you saying you would rank Duke above or UConn above Duke right now?
I'm just saying stats. I'm not saying I'm not saying I like this team more, they should or whatever. But if it was a blind sample and you don't know what these teams are and the heritage behind it, what team are you putting in the top 5? And it's hard to say because we have a little bit of strings attached here because we grew up liking Duke and stuff like that. You already have like your bias towards it. But if this was a blind sample and you've seen titles, Final Fours, conference titles, the last 25 years, the last time they won, is there any chance you put Duke or UConn in the top 5?
Potentially, and maybe it's not even Duke that gets bounced. Maybe it's Kansas as far as all time.
For sure. Yeah. Kansas's one-off is that they have 64 fucking conference titles. And you're comparing like UCLA, who has 11 championships. They only have 31 conference titles. So it's kind of like obviously Kansas has dominated so fucking much. They're just like, in my eyes, they're automatically in because 64 conference titles is ridiculous.
Does that say more about your program or more about the conference competition that
they're playing in?
Yeah.
I mean, still, the fact that you can out recruit your conference for 64 not consecutive, but conference titles still says something. I mean, they're not playing in the MAC here.
Right. I agree.
These are good Division I schools.
It's tough. It's definitely tough to say, that's for sure.
I just think this subject's a little crazy because it just like got brought up today and my mind's just been racking about it. And then I went diving deep on the stats and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like the UCLA shit was insane. Their run and their 11 titles insane. And then when I just dove into like Duke and North Carolina only having 5 titles and UConn was 5-0, I was like, Jesus.
Right. And from like, okay, if you just look at our lifetime, the time that we've been a college basketball fan, I think UCLA and Kentucky get left out. And then you bring in schools like Villanova, Michigan State, schools that are consistently competing for national championships in the 2000s era.
For sure. Kentucky, like I said, they are, what were they, 8-4 in the championship, but they haven't won one in 11 years. And then their first one was in 48. So you had 70 years to win their 8 titles,
Right. 48, 49, 51, 58. Good God.
Yeah, they won 5 championships before 1980. So they've won 3 since the 80s.
Yeah, really since like 48, it's been UK and UCLA. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened on the recruiting trail there, but it died out.
Adolph Rupp and John Wooden, 2 all-time greats. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's insane. Let's roll into the Detroit Lions. I kind of wanted to talk about it today. It was another hot topic on my timeline this weekend and today. So the Detroit Lions 2023 season, they are a minus 170 to make the playoffs. To win the division, they're plus 140. To win the NFC, plus 850. And Super Bowl champs, shotgun and butt chugging Kool-Aid, plus 2,500. Their over-under wins as at 9.5, 9.5, and that's at minus 150, which we talked about was just insane amount of juice. Minus 150 is just insane for the book. This year they got 8 home games, 9 away games. We kind of just wanted to run down the schedule and tell you a little bit how we think they're going to do, and if we think making the playoffs or the division or NFC champs are even worth taking a look at.
No, definitely. And as far as like the odds, I think we're in the top 10 in every category that you just listed. So as far as odds goes, like making the playoffs, winning our division, NFC championship, Super Bowl, we're in the top 10. So like not only are we starting to drink the Kool-Aid, the sports books, Las Vegas is starting to drink the Kool-Aid. We have the juice, like the most juiced line for over in the entire NFL, right? Combined with tied with the Eagles at minus 150. This is, new water for all of us. That's for sure.
I'm getting it chubby. To win the NFC, we are plus 850. That is the 4th highest. And to win the Super Bowl, 8th.
Right.
Yes, you heard that right, Detroit Lions fan. 8th favorite to win the Super Bowl next year. So if you've been hearing me the last couple episodes talking about shotgun and the Kool-Aid, it's not just me, okay? The whole country is backing the Lions, okay?
He's not going crazy. It's real. It's real.
Oh, I'm fucking crazy, but...
All right, you mentioned 8 home games. Amen. 8 home games. Chicago Bears, I think we get a dub.
Yep.
I think we take care of them pretty easy. Green Bay Packers, a dub. Minnesota Vikings, another dub. So I think we run the division when we're at home. Our other non-divisional opponents that are at home, we have Atlanta Falcons. I think between them and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're going to be the 2 worst teams in the NFL this year. So Atlanta Falcons, I have as a win. Carolina Panthers, I think we avenged last year's game. We come out with a little chip on our shoulder, want to pay them back a little bit. They are probably going to
400
be
rushing yards.
right. They're probably going to be starting a rookie quarterback, right? So if we play them early in the year, because this schedule isn't set yet, just the opponents. If we play them early in the year, I definitely think we're going to be heavy favorites in that game, and I think we'll win. The Broncos, the Raiders, and the Seahawks. So of these three games, being a Lions fan, I think we lose one of them, though I could see us running the table. So the Broncos running with Russ and Sean Payton, I think they will be better, but it depends. When are we going to play them? Are we playing them later in the season when everything's, more smoothed out for them? Or are we playing them early in the season when potentially the system isn't in play and we run them? The Raiders, I don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo at all.
Nobody does.
So I think we win that game. And then the Seahawks, Pete Carroll's a good coach. We obviously lost the high-scoring affair with them last season, which kind of cost us getting into the playoffs. So I would imagine we have, a chip on our shoulder, ready to revenge last year. But of those three games, I see us losing one just in Lions fashion because it's going to happen.
Miazer. So looking at the home games, I'm pretty much on board with you. It's hard for me to look at all the home games in all the green.
Right.
It looks a little bit too optimistic for me. I think there's a way we lose at home against Minnesota, or we throw one of those Carolina, Seattle, maybe Raiders. I don't know about the Raiders. My two question marks are Seattle at home and then one of the divisional opponents, because Chicago can come out and play. I know we both think that we're just going to basically beat Chicago twice, beat Green Bay twice, maybe split with Minnesota. But Lions can do Lions shit, and Chicago can definitely take a win from us at home. So I'm pretty much with you. I think we're going to go 6-2 at home. Pray to the football lords. 6-2. Loss coming to either Minnesota or Chicago, and then Seattle or the Raiders.
Okay. I was a little more aggressive. I did estimate we were going to go 7-1 at home this year. So a little more aggressive.
Nasty dog.
I shotgunned 2 of the Kool-Aid packs this week.
Looking at our away games, this is where we said in the previous episode, hopefully we can be a 500 away team. And looking at our games, if we're a 500 team on the road, we're a playoff team, 100%.
For sure.
So we have obviously the divisional opponents, Chicago, Green Bay, Minnesota, and then we have the Saints and the Bucks. Dunny said, we're not worried about the Bucks this year. They're going to be a poverty franchise probably for the next 5 years. Then we have 4 tough games that we pointed out. We have Kansas City Chiefs, we have the Chargers, the Cowboys, and the Ravens. So we think that 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 4 of those on the road games are going to be L's. If we could squeak one of those games out, it would mean a fuckload for us, because that would mean that, potentially we could throw one of those divisional games on the road. You're not going to win every divisional game on the road, and if you do, you're an absolute unit. You're going to go into the playoffs looking hot. But I don't see that. I see us taking the Packers, the Bears, Saints, and the Bucks. Probably losing to Minnesota one of the games, home or away. We just picked the away one on this. And then the Chiefs, Chargers, Cowboys, Ravens taking an L. So that's 6 L's that we think's going to happen. So that's an 11-7 season. That's playoffs. That's over 9.5. That's probably the division. So talking about the Kool-Aid, it's getting mixed. We got lots of sugar in here, and we're doing rounds.
Definitely. Of those away opponents that you were talking about, the last 4, so the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Ravens, which of the 4 do you think we're most likely to be able to beat?
Baltimore or Dallas?
Right. And if you made me pick, I would say Baltimore, purely because I don't know if Lamar's going to be the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, right?
Yeah, that's definitely the thing that's hindering on whether, you think we're going to win or lose. And obviously that's like a 8-point spread indicator whether or not he's playing or not. But if we play Baltimore with Lamar on the road, if there's any weather conditions, I would like Baltimore over. I think it'll be a closer game and Baltimore can win. But I think we can beat Dallas. We can definitely play with Dallas. Offensively, we can put up plenty of numbers. And I think we can with Baltimore, especially with their lacking offense last year, and who knows about the continuity of the team. I would take Baltimore. I would say we'd take the dub. 12-5 season. Give me another drink.
Okay. All right. There we go. Yeah, I would also say Baltimore. Without Lamar Jackson, that offense is not the same. And we kind of play the same style, right? Like we're both wear you down, run the ball down your throat, play solid defense, win the game that way. So that kind of leans to where an upset could happen if you view us as the underdog, right? The Cowboys, Dak Prescott likes to turn the ball over as he showed last year. So if he's still having those problems, who knows if they're going to have a running back with Tony Pollard coming off injury.
What's going on with Zeke? What's going on with Zeke?
He's still in free agency, He hasn't signed with anyone.
He hasn't signed with anyone. Pollard's hurt or coming back.
Right, yep. Coming off an injury.
They have no running backs on the depth chart right now.
Right, so that's the big rumor. That's the big rumor is they're going to end up drafting or going to try and draft Bijan.
Oh, brother.
Right. Which, okay, you can argue.
Typical Dallas fashion, bro. Take the flashiest running back, bro.
Exactly. And why not do what's good, what your franchise has always done, and invest in the offensive line heavily, because that's what made Zeke so good, what makes Tony Pollard so good, why Dak was so good as a rookie, because the offensive line was the best in the league.
Yeah, best left tackle in the league too as well.
Oh, for sure. Tyron
scariest too.
Yeah,
I would like to might add.
He uses knee braces as elbow braces because his arms are so big.
Yeah, that's just fucking ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. The Chargers we could beat. They kind of struggled as far as expectations goes for last year.
Chargers just can't finish games, dude. If you're a Chargers fan or ever watch them, that fourth quarter is brutal. Whether you're up 10 going in or you're down 10 going in, it's going to get it to the wire. You're going to go to the last drive, and it's going to be some fugazi shit.
Right. Or up, 31 in the playoff game at halftime or something like that.
Let's not talk about that. I got a few buddies that are Chargers friends. They're still hurting, man. They're grieving.
Yep. And then the Chiefs, I think we get run in that game.
Hey, I'm excited though. I am excited to play the Chiefs and Chargers just because that's going to gauge us. And if we do lose and we play close, that's going to be really good for us. I think it'll give us momentum if we play them well, and it'd be a good gauge just to see where we're going.
Absolutely. The only way to be the best is to beat the best, right? And the Chiefs are the reigning Super Bowl champs, so I would love to see it.
Yeah, as cliche as it sounds.
Right.
It'll be good for us. Happy 4/5/23 day, by the way.
Yes.
If you don't know what that is the score to the Michigan-Ohio State game last year, 45-23. So to all my Michigan fans, go blue.
And complete coincidence that Riley and I are both wearing Michigan stuff today.
That was a coincidence. I'm not going to bullshit. But shout out Joe Bags. He hit me up today. He messaged me. He said, happy 4/5/23 day. And I was like, yeah, I got to talk about that today.
Absolutely. Yeah, that game. I actually watched it when I was down in Florida watching it at Disney World, and there was a guy next to me who was an Ohio State fan. Yeah, he didn't last longer than a quarter and a half. He got up and left.
Hey, that's respectable, man. At least you're not sitting there being a piss pants.
Right.
Go do it in the car. Go home and cry about it.
Absolutely. All right. Lions 11-6. Good God.
11-6. I said 12-5, dude.
Okay.
I told you. Give me one more shot for the road, please.
Okay, 12-5.
One more shot of Kool-Aid for the road.
Yeah, but no, like you said, that would indicate making the playoffs. So hammer that. Winning the division, hammer that, and then sprinkle a little bit of NFC Championship and Super Bowl while you're at it, right?
Yeah, have a little fun with it. I like the playoffs minus 170. That would be a fun one to just, stick with throughout the season and just track and give you a little more reason to drink some more Kool-Aid,
Definitely. And then if they're going to make the playoffs, they might as well win 10 games. So
yeah, over 9.5. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like that a lot. Over 9.5 in the division.
All right. Well,
we got another prize picks tonight.
I was going to say, that kind of brings us to how everything went gambling-wise last episode, right? Prize picks, we have started 2-2.
2-0, baby.
Oh,
2-0.
2-0. Good God.
2-0.
2-4-2. Good God, verbiage. Yes, so you, myself, and Coin Snatcher are all 2 for 2. The first episode we smacked. The second episode we came back with CJ Cron under 6.5 fantasy points. James K for Oakland under 16.5 outs. And Adama Sonogo for UConn over 15.5 points. Bang, bang, bang. All 3 hit. That's huge on Prize Picks. So I think that's a times 5, correct?
Yeah, that's a 5X. The Sonogo was 15.5 and he got 17, so that was a big sweat. And then the James K under 16.5, he ended with 15, so they were both sweats as well. The only one that was free was the CJ Cron under 6.5 by Dr. Dunny. He didn't get a hit all night.
There was a little bit of sweat involved with that one.
Self-induced.
Watching the game cast on ESPN, it just shows where the ball goes. Like, you just see this line of where it's going. And his last at bat in the 8th inning, the line is going to center field, and it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going all the way to the track. And then the X pops up and it says pop out to center field.
Oh,
and
my God.
I sent you a screenshot so fast, I was sweating so bad, thought he hit a home run in the final at bat. But nope, he didn't. He went 0 for 4. Under 6.5 fantasy points, under 1.5 hits, RBIs, runs. So it was a great night. CJ Cron full fade was in effect and very profitable.
Let's go, baby. I like that.
Sir.
I like that. 2-0 from Mr. Coin Snatcher on Twitter. We're going for 3-0 tonight. He's 2-0. So the system right now, if you win, I'll ask you to come back on if you want to defend it. If not, we'll find someone else to come on in until you're ready. But for Coin Snatch, he's going for the 3-0 today. He's going 3 for 3. What's he on tonight, Don?
So tonight's picks, Coin Snatch has Russell Westbrook over 30.5 PRAs. So points, rebounds, plus assists, he's got to get at least 31. Riley, you are on Troy Terry and Frank Vetrano over 4.5 shots on goal. So Riley's going NHL for it tonight, huh? And then myself, I'm on Anthony Davis over 39.5 points plus rebounds. So he's got to get 40. What are you thinking? Why'd you go with your pick?
I like Troy Terry and Frank V tonight. They're versing Edmonton, who puts up a lot of shots, a lot of goals. They have like literal three GOATs on their team that would probably have 3 or 4 shots. If they want to keep it close at all, these guys are going to have to put some puck on the net. And I just think both of them 4.5. It's not that bad of a line. Frank V had 6 2 nights ago and 5 3 nights ago. He shoots the fucking puck. And like I said, if they're down, they're just going to have to. So at the end of the day, if they want to compete, that's the line I like.
Perfect. I'm on Anthony Davis because the man's been on a mission the last couple of games with them pushing for the playoffs. 39.5 points and rebounds is nothing, especially against the Clippers for Anthony Davis. The Clippers are in the bottom of the league for points allowed against centers and rebounds allowed against centers. So really looking for him to eat not only in the paint for points, but getting those offensive rebounds when needed and being a vacuum on the defensive rebound, just snagging everything.
Yeah, the big man he's going against tonight, what is that, Zubac and Batum?
Yep.
Yeah, hammer it. As long as AD's ankles and legs stay together, He's getting over 39.5.
That obviously is the one thing you always have to worry about with Anthony Davis bets. Who knows if he plays 4 minutes and gets sick like you did one time to me.
That's
But
the books are cooking on that. The books are cooking.
Yeah, instantly went to Twitter and everyone is, hey, can we get the bets voided? Blah, blah, blah. This is BS. You guys knew. Right.
Refund, please.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's my money and I need it now. Head ass.
But this PrizePicks parlay is 3-legger 5 times. So I think we did 20 for $100 win. Posted on the Discord, which we talked about last time. So if you're in the Discord, you've already seen this pick. And hopefully you guys are riding with us.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to join PrizePicks, all the links are below. There's a 100% match deposit bonus. So if you guys are checking it out, check out the referral link, gamble responsibly. Yeah, we're going for 3 for 3 tonight. So if you want to get on the show, if you want to either do the DraftKings or the prize pick entry, either DM us, tag us on Twitter, just get a hold of us and we'll let you know if we have anyone today or like maybe tomorrow type thing. But we're super flexible and we're just trying to showcase some people's talents. Like Coin Snatch is going for 3 for 3 tonight. The guy's been killing it this year in baseball. So it's just cool to kind of put some people on.
Definitely. I'm always down to team up with someone for picks. So even if we're not on the episode tonight, if you have a pick that you really love, all right, let's collab.
Put it in the cord.
Put
it in the cord. Or if you're even just thinking about a pick, the Discord is really just to talk shit out and you have someone to talk to and you're not just, just banking on your random knowledge. You come home 9 to 5 and you don't have more minds together on the same pick are better,
Absolutely. And again, I love gambling, so it gives me something to do.
I love gambling. Yeah, you're a degenerate, Donnie. You already told us your dad loves sports betting. It's in the blood. You can't escape it.
I cannot. I haven't tried, but I cannot escape it. That's for sure.
One funny ass thing I seen on Twitter today: the game, the Pistons versus Houston. They had tickets up for $2. Someone split a screen and it said, should I get a hash brown or a ticket to the game? The hash brown was $2.40 and those tickets were $2. Granted, Ticketmaster, it'll probably be $100 by the time you buy it.
Right.
You know how they fucking are, but the screenshot was just disgraceful. Houston versus Detroit, $2 ticket. The hash brown was $2.40.
Was that in Detroit or in Houston?
It was in Houston, the 31st. So it was like 6 days ago from the screenshot, but it came up on my timeline and I just felt disgraceful.
That's terrible. I mean, the worst 2 teams in the league.
Yeah, for sure. That's tough for the arena. Trying to sell $2 tickets, like just give them away.
Right. Please come by some concession stand.
Just give them to the homeless people and let them have 3 hours inside to watch the game. Fill the stadium up, look good on TV, and you guys will still lose by 30.
Right, exactly. One thing I did also want to touch on from last episode, we kind of talked about how the Tigers absolutely stunk for the first series of the season. And we mentioned they were going up against Houston, best team in the AL. Houston's pitching is really good. The matchups looked really good for Houston. And then Detroit comes out and goes 2 out of 3 wins against the Astros. They won that night that we talked about in extra innings, and then they blew them out 6-3 yesterday. Today they did end up losing a pretty lopsided game, but it's just okay, maybe the Tigers are starting to hit a little bit.
Oh, God, Donnie's drinking the juice.
I don't know about drinking the juice, but it's good to see. I was up late watching the games because I couldn't believe my eyes that I just literally talked on this podcast about how the Tigers stink. No one's doing anything. They've got 4 guys going after the ball, and then all of them running away from each other, cue the circus music, and then they go out and beat the team that I think is going to, play in the World Series for the AL. So, good for the Tigers. I hope they keep it going. I think their home opener is tomorrow against the Boston Red Sox.
Nice. Hopefully those tickets are more than $2.
I think they will be. Michigan, it's kind of warm right now, so as long as the rain doesn't come, they should be. It should be a pretty good game to go watch.
Oh yeah, the weather was nice. I think next week Friday it's supposed to be like 80.
Don't
80.
give me false hope. Don't give me false
80.
hope.
So let's see if there's a Tigers game. Maybe we go to a Tigers game.
Oh, absolutely. We definitely have to get there this summer. Hopefully I don't break my ankle this time when we go, but
that's for another time.
That is for another time.
Oh my God. Hey, I had a really rough night that night too. It was definitely a very different side of the spectrum, but definitely a rough night as well.
For sure. For sure.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. Thank you to everyone listening. We appreciate you guys being here the last 3 episodes. We're trying to get better and better as we, get our feet wet in the podcasting side of things. We are continuously always trying to improve and, talk together and try to figure out ways to just, do a little different, have a few different segments and open things up a little bit. So if you're sticking with us and you're listening, I really do appreciate it. Dunny appreciates it. It means the world to us. We're having fun doing this, and we want to just keep having fun and, talking about sports.
Absolutely. And all like the little things that you guys maybe pick up on, or if you say, hey, what if you try this, that stuff, like I know some people are hesitant to say it. I am open for all criticisms, good, bad, in between. Because I want to try and make this as good for you guys as it is for us, So feel free to reach out if you have any pointers again, as Riley said, we appreciate everything you guys do for us, all the shares, all the likes, the quote tweets, the subscribes on YouTube. It really means a lot to us. So thank you.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it. Help us to 100 subscribers on YouTube. We're at like 50, 60 right now. Help us to 100. Tell your grandma, tell your dog, make an account for them. We don't care. Help us to 100. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time on the Third Leg Podcast.
Adios.
Peace.
Another one for Tommy boy. Another one for the world. Another one for the listeners. And maybe for